So, for centuries, water has dictated and shaped the lives of people living in the harsh and demanding conditions of the desert. From the use of sacred springs by the Pueblos to the democratic and self-governing system of the acequias by the Spanish, harnessing water in the desert has shaped spirituality, cultural identities, and social systems in New Mexico. The use of this precious and limited resource requires innovation, cooperation, and planning. Today, the use of water is no longer focused to meet the basic needs of our daily lives or provide for the lives of our future generations. It is focused and driven toward immediate profit. Under our current system, there is no planning, there is no real positive innovation, and there is no cooperation on behalf of the government. Under capitalism, water is no longer a source of life, it is a commodity that is becoming more and more scarce. As our most precious resource begins to dry up in front of our eyes from the effects of climate change, the struggle for water and the certainty of our future becomes ever more precarious. With New Mexico quickly becoming a center of this country's military-industrial complex, thousands came pouring into the state for new economic opportunities, which quickly led to the over-allocation of the Rio Grande, New Mexico's main water source. In order to supplement the influx of growth, water was diverted from indigenous and Latino agricultural communities to rapidly growing urban centers, which is still a very common scenario today. Through arduous court battles and the buying and selling of water rights, Puebloans and Latinos still often end up on the losing side. For example, the city of Rio Rancho, initially a suburb of Albuquerque, continues to develop at an alarming and unsustainable rate. To supplement this growth, Rio Rancho has been buying off water rights from the farmers of Jemez and Zia Pueblos. Capitalizing on the poverty within the Pueblos, Rio Rancho has been offering significant sums to buy up water rights, and with farmers not yielding enough money from their crops, they often have no other options than to sell and move away from their ancestral homes to the city to seek better opportunities. With the ever-growing fossil fuel industry, military, and nuclear research labs here in New Mexico, there are hundreds of examples of water contamination throughout the state. The majority of these contamination sites surround impoverished communities and communities of color in a clear display of environmental racism. From oil and gas fracking groundwater contamination surrounding impoverished indigenous communities in northwestern New Mexico, to the 3 EPA Superfund sites in the historically Latino center of South Valley, a result of the dumping of toxic waste by military giants like the national laboratories. Then there is Kirtland Air Force Base itself, where jet fuel leaked into the aquifer of Albuquerque undetected for 45 years, resulting in the largest toxic contamination of an aquifer in U.S. history. It's been 24 years since the discovery of the spill, and only a gallon of water has been treated. As more of our water is being funneled into industry and growth and spewed back out as toxic waste, our options for clean and accessible water are growing thin, especially in the face of climate change. As it is, New Mexico is in exceptional drought, and groundwater is depleting fast across the state. With no rain to rely on and the pressure of climate change being felt, the state has been strife with water conflicts, most notably the current lawsuit between Texas and New Mexico over their share water of the Rio Grande. The two states have spent millions in legal fees in a heated and monumental battle that has pitted people against each other over a river that is quickly disappearing. While this is happening, corporations like Intel and Facebook suck thousands of gallons of water a day, and cities continue to outgrow their water rights, while the people suffer in an increasingly dry and warming environment. We are facing a crisis. It is not a crisis at the hands of the people, though. It is a crisis caused by capitalism. Lack of planning, deliberate negligence, exploitation, and mismanagement of our natural resources is how capitalism functions. Capitalism puts profit before all else, even human life, which is why we see water rights being taken from the people, but not from the corporations. It is why millions of our tax dollars are being wasted on lawsuits, millions of dollars that could be used for education, housing, employment, and healthcare. Capitalism commodifies life itself. It creates its own environmental crises with no real solutions. Who are the ones who are punished for this? Who are the ones who suffer from this? We do, the people. We are led to believe that we are the ones causing the water crisis, and we are pitted against one another in a battle that is not of our making. We are the ones who are punished for it with fines, hikes in yearly irrigation fees, and the loss of water rights. We cannot rely on the Republicans or the Democrats because they benefit from a capitalist system. As long as there is profit to be made, our rights will always be stolen, commodified, and privatized. The needs of the people will never be respected and will never be placed before profit. There are two sides to this battle. It is not Texas versus New Mexico. It is the people versus capitalism. Thank you.